Hello everybody, welcome to TRN 130, Intro to Sustainability. I thought I would take just a few minutes to go over some of the course material, some of the expectations, and primarily just to tell you a little bit about myself. So when you open up the course, it should look very similar to this. Some of these things at the top you may not see. Some of them I may have hidden for the time being. But mostly everything will be broken down into either 1 week or 2 week sections. I like the 2 week, but there are some things that just makes more sense to do a week by week. So I'll scroll through these really quickly. Most importantly, the first thing that you are required to do is by the end of the day on Wednesday, August 27th, you have to have completed the course syllabus quiz, and you have to make a grade of 100 on that quiz. Every answer for that quiz can be found inside of the course syllabus. Course syllabus is here, and then even though this really doesn't make sense to put this at the top as far as a flow, I wanted this to be the first thing that you saw. If you do not complete the syllabus quiz by the end of the day on the 27th, you will be removed from the course. That's not up to me. At that point, you have to do an introductory assignment to prove that you have quote unquote entered the online course. Everything should flow pretty well. You see this, and I have that hidden. I have used Cengage textbooks in this course before. I am not currently everything that you will need, with the exception of this safety quiz. I provided one PowerPoint for that. Not every answer to this safety quiz is going to be found in that PowerPoint. You may have to do a little Googling. I hope you've been in the program long enough that you've covered a lot of the safety stuff. You have unlimited attempts at the quiz. Make as high grade as you want to. And then as you go through, there'll be some chapters. So this is a chapter that I have put in, and it'll populate in what we call a Moodle book. So the whole chapter, everything that you'll need for the quiz is here. Please, please take this material, take all of it, copy it, and put it into a Word document. Put it somewhere. Keep all of this material. Keep all of the chapter stuff. When you complete a quiz, make a copy of the quiz. Keep it too. Trust me, towards the end of this course, that will be very, very, very helpful. Because as you can see in the layout of the class, once this week is gone, so we're going week 1 is 8:18 to 8:30. So once that week's gone, the end of the day on the 30th of August, it's gone. And then September 1st, the end of the day on September 13th, everything inside of this is gone. One other point, and then I'll get more into an introduction, because the course is kind of laid out in a step-to-step. Start at the beginning of a week, go through each thing. And you'll see there are a lot of videos. So these videos, when you click those, play through those. Some of them are 3 minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes. But go back to the top here. There is a place for me to click and get reports. So at the end of every week or 2 weeks, however long the assignments have went, I click a report here. And so there's some weeks where I may not give you a quiz. It may be just a lot of videos. So you may say, well, he's not going to know if I'm watching these or not. Well, trust me, when I click on these activity reports, it will show me in a very neat, easy for me to read breakdown who has went through, who has clicked the videos. Now, I don't know if you clicked them and then went and made a ham sandwich or something, but I do know whether or not you actually engaged and whether you clicked on each video to view the content. So these weeks where there may not be a lot of written assignments or quizzes, please make sure you're watching the videos, because that is a big part of your grade as well. So anyway, as we progress, you can always contact me. I will pull up the syllabus here just to show my contact information. So when you download the quiz, make sure that you keep a copy on your computer. there's my information. That is my personal cell phone number. I'm at work all day, every day, and I have a different work phone number. So this one here, the 648 number, I generally will not be able to answer much while I'm at work. But we get off of work, we leave at 4:30 right now. So anytime after that, you can text that number, you can call that number. Preferably, the best way to get in contact with me is that email address right there. I get those on my computer, I get those on my phone. I don't mind a text message, but it's a lot easier for me if you'll just send me an email. Text me if you have to, but email is the best way for me to roll. All right, let me tell you just a little bit about me and my background, and I'll keep it short and sweet. When I was a freshman in high school, I started working at this little sandwich shop here. If any of you have ever been to Mount Airy, I don't know if you have or not, but it's kind of a staple of our community. This place has been there since 1930 something. I don't remember, but long time. It's kind of like a Sonic type deal. You drive up and there are curbs here, and you push a little speaker button and you order, and then a curb hop brings the food out to you. So when I was 14 and a half, because back then you could get a worker's permit at that age, that was my first job. I started at Odell's at 14 and worked there 3 or 4 nights a week all throughout my high school. Probably some of the best years I had, really. But after that, I decided, well, I don't want to stay at Odell's forever. I want to do something a little bit different. So I enrolled at Surrey Community College. Started off, maybe like some of you, I didn't really know what I wanted to do. My first endeavor was computer electronics. I took that for about a year. I took some accounting classes, and in the middle of those, I took one automotive class just to learn a little bit about, I wanted to be able to change my own oil or know if somebody was trying to rip me off. I just wanted some basic content. And after that one class, I thought, I may take another one of these, and I really just got very interested in cars. For me, I always liked problem solving. I liked math in school, and that was what really intrigued me about cars. Was it's not for most of us going to be just changing oil and putting brakes on. It is drivability and check engine lights and problems, and that's the aspect that really got me. I liked problem solving. I wanted to take the car that was misfiring or whatever it was doing and figure out why and fix it. So anyway, I went there for 2 years, and then I started work at a place called, back then we were called Bob Neal Pontiac GMC. Flo bought us out in 2005, and we became Flo Pontiac Buick GMC. And then some of you may have never even heard of a Pontiac anymore, but they did drop Pontiac not long after that, and we became Flo Buick GMC. In my time there, I started off doing basic brake work and oil leaks, coolant leaks, whatever. And as I progressed over the years, they said, well, Adam, we want you to do transmission work. And I said, nah, I had seen that. You cut one little seal, one thing goes wrong, and oh man, out she has to come again. And I'd seen guys struggle with that. And I said, nah, I don't think I want to do that. And so they got one guy, they actually hired a guy out of a GM ASEP school, and he did them for a few months, and it wasn't his cup of tea. He was a good guy, but transmission work just wasn't for him. And they came back to me and said, hey, we really want you to consider doing some transmission work. We think you'll do good at it. And I said, no, I do not want to do it. So then they shifted that to another guy that worked there, and he did it for about a month. And the third time they came and asked me, I said no, and they said, yeah, we're going to send you to school. You're going next week. So anyway, the last few years there, I'd done all of the automatic transmission work and what little manual transmissions we had coming in, and differential work, drivability. And my last 3 years there, I had the title of a shop foreman. And that meant a lot to me because I was still pretty young and felt like I was really excelling at what I was doing then. So long about 2005, I started teaching part-time at the same place I had been. I started teaching part-time at Surrey Community College. Did that for 2 years in the evenings, just done 2 nights a week for 2 years. And in 2007, they asked me if I wanted to take on a full-time role. And I don't know how many of you know this, but teaching generally doesn't pay that well. But I thought, you know what, I enjoy doing it. I would like to give it a go. And so in 2007, I started teaching full-time automotive at Surrey Community College. And I stayed at Surrey from 2007 until 2021. My last few years there, they had promoted me to a division chair, so I was over all of the engineering programs, which was, let's see, machining, automotive, auto body, welding, electrical, electronics, mechatronics, which is like robotics, y'all probably know, HVAC, and drafting. So I was over 9 programs, I think 14 full-time faculty, and 39 part-time. That was a really good job. I enjoyed it. It gave me a chance to really help students and help faculty, and in some ways I miss it, but things changed the last couple of years. There's politics in every aspect of any job you're ever going to have. In 2021, I had a new opportunity kind of fall into my lap at a place here called Altec. And that's where I currently work. I am the service shop supervisor at Altec. And the picture I have up on the screen here is of our Mount Airy operations. So here, this wing, this wing, this wing, trucks are all built those 3 wings. And generally what we do, we were doing chippers for a while. We do these smaller trucks. The littler, we call them squirt booms, but would be like on an F550 or something. We build those trucks. You can see all these booms setting here. When I say we, they build those trucks. They take an existing Ford, Dodge chassis, whatever it is, and they mount a boom to it and turn it into a working bucket truck. This wing right here, this entire wing, is service. That's where I am, and we have 16 full-time technicians working here. So while they're building them here, over on this side, we're fixing them. And we do just about anything you can think of. We do chippers, we've done tractors. Most of our work is Altec specific, and it is digger derricks and aerial trucks. And if you're not familiar with those, I'll see if I can pull the picture up. Okay, I paused that for just 1 second. So when I say bucket truck, Altec doesn't really like that term, but here's a good example of one. This looks like what we call an AA55. You see power companies, maybe some lighting and signs, but primarily for us in our area, you'll see a lot of Pike, Duke. These are the trucks that the guys use when they fix our power lines, transformers, whatever have you. So that is an example of aerial. We call it an aerial device, but most of us still would call it a bucket truck. And then a digger derricks, which is where they plant the poles. So we do a lot of work on those too. And then I thought there was one other picture. Yeah, here's what I was talking about a minute ago. We call it a little squirt boom. It's still a pretty big truck, but when you compare it to these Peterbilt's International's Freightliners, pretty small truck. But that is what we do, no matter what the problem is with them. And you know, they get into live wires sometimes, and they're phased and electrocuted, and we're all insulated. We build the trucks and ensure that the truck can withstand dielectric properties, and that if a live wire were to hit the truck, we've done our part to say, well, it might have got the truck, but it didn't get the person. And so anyway, the video format I'm using tops out at 15 minutes, and I think I've rambled probably long enough. But as you all progress through your degrees, remember that Altec, we have almost 400 full-time employees now. Really good place to work, about an hour from where you are probably. So keep that in mind, keep my contact information. I'm cutting the video right down to the last second here, but always feel free, like I said, text me, email me anytime with any questions, and I will talk to you again soon.